and the journey is toward justice. So I think it's only fitting if we give them a hand, a round of applause. Today, the Johnson family is standing with us as we announce a rally that will take place on April 4th in Macon, Georgia. This rally will take place at the William Augustus Boodle Federal Building and Courthouse. The reason it's important that we announce it today, and I think it's only fitting that we do it at the weekly meeting of Reverend Dr. Joseph Lowry's Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda.
Yes.
The reason it's important is because me being a homeowner of over 15 years now, if there's any kind of disturbance or disruption that happens in my home, it's on me to take care of it because it's my property. Where I'm going with that is, this family is from Valdosta, Georgia.
Yes.
Kendrick Johnson is from Valdosta, Georgia.
Yes.
Even though we know there have been several others outside of the state of Georgia that have assisted and supported this family, we feel necessary to say this is an in-house issue and we have more than enough capability to take care of that.
Yes.
The Johnson family got to watch their son get ready for school January 10th, 2013, and what's been coined now is that he left, as many students do, wearing a book bag. The next morning, January 11th, he was wheeled out of the gymnasium in a body bag. There's something terribly wrong with that.
Yes.
Lowndes County conducted the initial investigation under the leadership of their sheriff, the beloved Sheriff Prime. At that point in time, the investigation was concluded and it was said that Kendrick's death was accidental. It was said that Kendrick's death was accidental before an autopsy report was even completed. Once the autopsy report was completed, the cause of death supported the investigation by Lowndes County, which was cause of death positional asphyxia. They wanted this family, they wanted the public to believe that Kendrick, healthy, athletic, and I beg to differ, even if he wasn't athletic, it doesn't make a difference, but healthy and athletic, crawled into a tumbling mat that was stored, rolled up against the wall in the gymnasium of Lowndes County High in order to retrieve a shoe, got stuck, and died. First problem with that is the core of the mat is 14 inches wide. Kendrick Johnson's shoulders stretched 19 inches. I have an 8-year-old son, but 4 years ago we had to do some testing for him, and part of that testing was to see if you could fit objects in certain holes. And you cannot fit a square object in a round hole.
All right.
It doesn't work. Since then, the federal government is now investigating the Middle District of Georgia, which is the reason for the location of the rally on April 4th. But this investigation is being headed by Michael Moore, U.S. Attorney out of the Middle District of Georgia. We like to believe that it is not a coincidence, as this rally has been in planning for 2 months now, that the activities of last Thursday are related to this upcoming rally.
All right.
Amen.
The activities that I speak about are the subpoenas that were issued for Kendrick Johnson's classmates and some of their parents. These subpoenas were issued for grand jury testimony. Now, we're not ready to invite Mr. Moore over for tea and crumpets made with truffles yet. But we are happy to see the activity in the case. Let's be honest, there's still a lot of work to do.
Yes.
We aren't satisfied with grand jury testimony. I know this family's spirit. They have been fighting every single day except for Sundays since they found out of this tragedy. They want nothing more and nothing less than those to be held accountable who caused the death of their son and are involved in what we believe to be a massive cover-up.
Amen.
There will be a couple of people that will come up to speak today. It will represent, again, this true coalition. There are people here that represent churches. There are people here that represent labor unions. People that represent organizations and various centers. We all have different missions. But when it comes to our children, I think we find a common denominator, and that is seeking justice.
Yes. Yes.
Join us as a coalition on April 4th as we support this ongoing federal investigation. But not just that, we also choose that date to commemorate the assassination of a giant of this world, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We chose that date and this location for various reasons, but here's one that's important. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it's no secret, stood for fairness, justice, and equality.
Yes.
We need everyone to join us in Macon as we send a message to the country that this family is seeking fairness, justice, and equality.
Yes.
Last statement, and then we will hear from the executive director of the People's Agenda, Ms. Helen Butler. On April 4th, we have a meeting set with Michael Moore at 9 a.m. That meeting will be closed to a select few. We hope to deliver a good message from that meeting to the public. But more importantly, we need the masses to join us here. We have been dealt a bad hand of injustice in this past year or so. Everyone is familiar with the Trayvon Martin and Zimmerman case.
Right.
A lot of us here worked diligently when it came to that case. We didn't get justice. A lot of us here worked diligently when it came to the Michael Dunn, Jordan Davis case.
Yes.
Even though there was a conviction, the overall consensus was we still didn't get justice. Michael Moore, Eric Holder for that matter, this country, you have the opportunity to restore some much needed faith in this justice system as it comes to the African American community. And you have that opportunity to do it right here with Kendrick Johnson. Right. Meet us in Macon April 4th, 11 a.m., William Augustus Boodle Federal Building.
All right. Yes.
At this point in time, we will hear from the Executive Director of the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, Ms. Helen Butler.
All right.
Thank you, Marcus, and to the Johnson family. We are just...
Can you go to the microphone, please? Come on.
To the Johnson family and to all who are assembled here, the People's Agenda Coalition, who are here with the Tomorrow Monday Coalition. We're here seeking justice not only legislatively but legally. We're seeking justice as well. In this particular case, I stand as the Executive Director of the Coalition for the People's Agenda convened by the Honorable Dr. Joseph Lowry. And you'll hear from our co-convener, Reverend James Milner. But we're here with the Johnson family because they came to us a year or so ago. And Dr. Lowry promised them in our meeting that he would meet with Eric Holder, Attorney General Eric Holder, and ask him to assign the District Attorney General to investigate this case. And we're happy to see that they did follow through and have the District Attorney in the District of Macon to actually investigate this case of Kendrick Johnson, who we feel that he didn't die accidentally. We feel that there's more to that story, and we want the truth to be told, but more importantly, we want justice to be handed down to those who deserve that justice.
Yes.
And so today we're asking you to join us in Macon, Georgia, because we'll be there. We'll be talking, but we'll also be marching to stand for justice. We want this family, we want this mother to be comforted in knowing that her child did not die in vain, and that justice will be brought to those who killed him.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
What do I hear from Reverend Miller?
Again, Dr. Lowry would be here. He's not able to physically be here today. But the question continues to loom high. How long must we wait
All right.
before we begin to value the lives of young black men?
All right.
How long must we wait for justice to roll down like men of war? How long
How long?
must we wait
All right.
in order for this family to finally be able to get closure? Again, I encourage you to stand with this coalition as we gather in Macon. Stand with us because your family may be next.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
I want to thank the members of the media and the press who are here to help us to tell the story,
Yes.
the real story. There's been so much misinformation that has been circulated regarding Kendrick Johnson.
Yes.
Long before this became a media issue, Marcus Coleman had called me and told me what had happened, and concerned black clergy started getting involved. We had the parents at First Iconium in a rally a few weeks ago with their attorney, Attorney Crump, and the community came out to respond. April the 4th is important.
Yes.
For a variety of reasons that have already been expressed. But we're going to be concerned black clergy and the faith community in Macon, Georgia, very much a part of this action. There has never been any successful social movement without feet to the street.
All right. All right.
It doesn't matter whether you're talking about South Africa or Central America. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about China and Tiananmen Square. But there's never been a successful social movement without feet to the streets.
right.
That's what's going to happen on April the 4th.
All right.
And you will see a coalition of citizens who believe in justice, who believe in truth. And they're going to come from all denominations, all religious persuasions, all races. They're going to be young people, older people, black, white, brown, yellow. You're going to see the real America standing up
All right.
for this mother
Yes.
and this father.
Yes.
Because we know they represent all of us.
Yes.
I can only begin to imagine if that were my son.
Yes.
And many times I have sat and pictured that could have happened to me. And how would I feel? And to know that there are people out there, people's agenda, concerned black clergy,
Yes.
organized labor,
Yes.
Moral Monday,
Yes.
NAACP,
Yes.
SCLC,
Yes.
that's out there saying, you are not alone.
Yes.
And we're going to show you that you are not alone.
Yes.
By turning up on April the 4th
Yeah.
in Macon, Georgia, and sending a message not only throughout America, but throughout the world, that there are still people in this country who know the power of the people.
All right.
We're here under the Gold Dome right now, and there's a whole lot of craziness going on.
All right.
When the people remain silent, we give voice to craziness.
Yes.
We no longer will remain silent. We will be there with this family. We will be there with the People's Agenda. We will be there with Marcus Coleman on April the 4th. And we want to invite all people of goodwill,
Yes.
all people who love justice and truth to join us to send a message to America that we're tired and we're not going to take it anymore.
All right.
Good afternoon. These issues are not strange to us at National Action Network. From the very moment I heard this father's story, it wasn't whether or not we were going to get behind him. It's how long we are going to stand behind him. And I am here to tell you that we will stand behind this family until those responsible, aiding and abetting and obstructing justice
All right.
serve their time in prison. This happens all over the state of Georgia, and it's time that everyone get involved to make sure that we change what seems to be a regular day's work in Georgia.
All right.
Everyone has to stand up. The best thing about being with National Action Network is you can partner with all these different wonderful organizations to get the word out and to make sure that this family gets justice.
Yes.
Not just this family, but all the families in Georgia.
Yes.
You all need to be aware in 2014 that we will be relentless at exposing the corruption in the state of Georgia as it regards to the death of our children and young black men all over this state. If you are not a member of any of these organizations, start at this rally on April the 4th. Get involved. Find out where we can use you in this effort to seek justice for Kendrick Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you all and have a blessed day.
Amen.
Yes.
Now, in closing, let it be no secret, there are some that say, well, look at the level of corruption that would have to take place if what the family and this coalition and others are saying. Well, to those, I tell you to take a short walk right up to the Atlanta PD and research a case called Katherine Johnston,
All right. All right.
where to this date there are several law enforcement officers sitting in jail. Corruption does exist, and there is no secret. Atlanta, as proud as we might be, black mayor after black mayor after black mayor, you travel 30 minutes in any direction and you are in the good old state of Georgia.
Say that.
And the good old state of Georgia has a history of corruption.
Yeah.
So we encourage Michael Moore, continue to dig, continue to dig, continue to dig, because we know there's some dirty, dirty bones that are beneath this red clay.
Yes.
Now, I understand that the Johnson family, as heavy as their hearts are, they were willing to come and stand again with this coalition to show the support of this rally. But I do believe that the Johnsons at this point in time do not want to make a statement. Is that correct, Mr. Johnson? So if there are any questions, you could direct them my way, and then we will conclude.
The federal government was a huge refuge, if you would, for a change in laws and an investigation into things like this. This is a good 50, 60 years later. You mentioned Katherine Johnson, it was the federal government. Why the federal government, why not that local district attorney or whoever? Why did it not happen, do you think?
Well, I mean, listen, the activities on Thursday prove that. Just with the subpoenaing and getting the testimony of individuals that weren't originally questioned. The contradicting second autopsy, meaning the second autopsy, which I think we didn't fail to mention today, Kendrick's death resulted in blunt force trauma. So you have the contradiction of the original autopsy. You have key people that were not even questioned. So I think Thursday speaks volumes, but on one level it definitely speaks that either the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department is inadequate and incapable of doing thorough investigations, or the rabbit hole goes much deeper.
Yeah.
Maurice Barnes, Rolling Out Magazine. So far in 2014, we've seen the devaluation of young black male life, especially under a black president. Why do you think this is? Why do you think that we have to have an overabundance of proof of murder as well as an overabundance of proof of character before we see any sort of media involvement or government involvement?
Well, it's no secret, just because we have a commander-in-chief that bears the same color skin as mine, there are still a lot of others in local authority that still have certain ways that they continue. As we applaud the president's efforts and Eric Holder's efforts, there has to be a trickle-down effect. And let's just be quite honest here. Even up under this gold dome, this house that we're in now, I think we see some of the reactive techniques from our commander-in-chief that you speak about. Now, without being long-winded on this answer, I would just say that just because we change commander-in-chief does not mean we rid the evil of this country.
Be clear that because our president is black, it has caused certain elements that have always been here, particularly in the South, to rise up. We've seen evidence of that in the legislation that's even being introduced here under this gold dome. I think the mere fact that an African American is president has caused these elements to feel that they can get away with some things, and if they would just coalesce and come together, then they could achieve. So it works both ways. That sword cuts both ways. And what we have to do is to ensure that regardless to who is in the White House, or regardless to who is governor, that justice is what we seek. And be clear, we're not even just seeking justice just for black males.
Amen.
We want justice for everybody.
Yes.
And Kendrick Johnson is just one of many who in this state and across this nation of our young men and young black men in particular who are being killed. And at some point that has to stop, and we had a coalition for decades between the legal, the faith, and the community. After Brown versus Board of Education, that coalition began to fall. 1964-65, what got us the Voting Rights Act, what got us the Civil Rights Act was the legal, the faith community, and the community leaders. The powers that be knew that, and they broke up that coalition. Now, that coalition is coming back together.
Amen.
And I promise you, you're going to see some results after April the 4th.
Yes.
They've been with us on many occasions. They marched with us in Monroe last year on the anniversary of Dr. King's assassination, April 6th last year with Ben Jealous, NAACP National President. They've been to the People's Agenda many times at our regular Tuesday meeting on Auburn Avenue with Dr. Joseph Lowry. I just want to thank Marcus Coleman and Reverend McDonald and all of you great leaders for standing with the family. I will be in Macon on the 4th, walking around the federal courthouse demanding justice. And then on Saturday, April 5th, the Johnsons will actually lead this year's march on the Moores Ford Bridge in Monroe as we call attention to the 46th anniversary of the assassination of my leader, your leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I've said many times that the authorities know what happened to Kendrick Johnson.
All right.
They know what happened.
Yes.
They have the evidence.
Yes.
The local authorities, the state authorities, the federal authorities. They know what happened. And why they will not move with the information they have right now to pursue the suspects, it just baffles me. It hurts me. It pains me. When I think about Kendrick, I think about Tyrone Jr., my own son, who just finished law school and who was developing his own career. But it could have been my son. It's painful. You know, the Trayvon Martin and Kendrick Johnsons, and then we look at all of these other killings around the country. There's no justice. How long do we go without justice? How long, Reverend Francis Johnson? Why, you need to be over here too.
I'm coming.
The state president of the NAACP, my leader. But I just want to say that, you know, the family should know that some of us will be with them to the end. We will never give up in pursuing justice.
All right.
And that's why we work so hard on the Moores Ford Bridge lynching case. Some people say, why you keep doing that? Well, it was Dr. King's project. Then Abernathy, then Lowry, then Jose, and Andy Young and Jesse Jackson, and on and on and on, and Andy Young and Ben Jealous. We just Ed DuBose. So we just can't give up on pursuing justice. I just have to say to you that I am disappointed with the Department of Justice. I am disappointed with the U.S. Attorney in the Middle District. He has Monroe, he has Kendrick Johnson, he has Equipment 10. He's got all these cases in the Middle District, and nothing happens. So I just thank you, Marcus, for getting us organized for April 4th. We will be in Macon. Then the next day we will be in Monroe. And I want to thank Reverend Milner and all the clergy who are here. Kevin Moran, thank you. Peace and Justice Coalition. All of my leaders, all my friends, working with Reverend Fred Taylor, SCLC veteran.
Yes.
Met him in 1969 when he walked into the doors of SCLC on Auburn Avenue. I was there when he walked in 1969. I was already there, 1967. So I want to commend the media for staying on this case.
That's right.
Yeah. You shed the light on this case. You
right.
uncover things that we can't uncover. So stay on it, journalists. Keep writing about it. Raise those questions. Ask those answers. Those questions. Say, why won't you move with the evidence you have now? Right now. We don't need any more investigative work. There's enough already to move on suspects that you know were involved in the murder of Kendrick Johnson. And I say murder. It was a murder. And that's all I want to say. I wake up in the morning and I say this sometimes, I say, when are we going to get justice?
All right.
Before Dr. Francis Johnson speaks, I want to make sure that I send a message for the young people. Now, I'm 39 years of age, so I know I'm not as young as I used to be. But I coach Little League football and speak at high schools and colleges. And I also have a 20-year-old son and an 8-year-old son. And here's the message. Our children and our young folks are watching. I'll say it again. Our children and our young folks are watching.
Yes.
America.
Yes.
If you keep giving example after example after example that a system that we abide by doesn't work for us, you're breeding more and more hate.
Amen.
You're breeding more and more frustration. You're breeding more and more concern. Stop with the disparities as it comes to the legal system, as it applies to the African American community. I need something to be able to tell the young ones that I stand before and give them reasons on why they should not lash out in ways that they tell me many times they would like to. Justice for all, not justice for some. Now we'll hear from Francis Johnson.
Dr. Johnson, one more thing. In that middle district of Georgia also is Dawson, Georgia, Terrell County, 24-year-old Christopher Wright. Dawson shot 6 times on October 31st of last year. No suspects, nobody's been arrested, no prosecution. He's back at work. We went down, Helen and I and many others went down on January 8th to be with him. Man, Christopher Wright, 24 years old, almost killed, almost assassinated, and nothing has happened in that case either. Go ahead, Dr. Johnson.
The NAACP, the state's oldest and largest civil rights organization, we've had an unbroken presence in Georgia since 1917. We've been fighting for a long time, and it seems as if we're still fighting the same fight, and we are.
Amen.
Freedom is a constant struggle, and so the NAACP is here to join in this struggle with the Johnson family. It is interesting that the U.S. Attorney utilized authority in the civil rights powers under public integrity, and that's what is at the heart of this case. Is that the public's confidence in law enforcement to fairly and equitably measure out justice has been shaken to its core. People of common sense and goodwill across this country see that, and that's why there's attention to this case. I'm standing with Mr. and Mrs. Johnson because I have 3 boys, Thurgood, Frederick Douglass, and Langston.
All right.
And if I don't stand with them, who will stand with me?
All right.
Who will stand for them?
Yes, sir.
And so I call upon all of those who listen to the NAACP, who've worked with us over the years, who's marched with us in struggles of yesterday, that this is our struggle of today.
Yeah.
That Kendrick Johnson, we are all Kendrick Johnson.
Yes, we are.
And so we join in prayer and solidarity with this family. We appreciate the strong work of Brother Coleman in getting us to this point.